Okay, so that is a nice SDP, therefore is a nice framework, the software defined parameter for adding devices into the system. See, the thing is that if you want, so here we have said that devices are of different link layer technologies, right. You have Bluetooth, you have Wi-Fi, you have all kinds of very specific protocols which have to interwork under a framework and provide security for you. This is not going to be easy, and there have been efforts over many years on trying to provide a sort of an IoT platform for disparate devices to get connected and yet share data across these different type of technologies. For example, there was this technology which was called IoTVT. As you can see here, there was a protocol called, let me just expand, just put this pointer here for you. There was this IoTVT from Open Connectivity Foundation. Then there was AllJoyn from Allseen, Weave from Google, and HomeKit from Apple. All of them were all fragmentations. If you have to ask Weave to talk to something IoTVT based platform, it would not be possible unless you install both. Okay. So, this is not going to work if you are talking about a first responder network. The first responder simply comes near the building, the device should get automatically authenticated, and security keys have to be established, and the SDP hosts and requesting and accepting hosts have to be identified. IPv6 is exposed, you get data directly and start streaming and look at what is happening live. That is what our goal is. So, it is not going to work if you have these disparate technologies. Therefore, that paper also talks about a important I would say protocol integration called 1M2M IoT protocol integration. Therefore, if you go into first responder networks, you have to solve this problem of understanding 1M2M based IoT protocol and look at that framework and see how these disparate devices can all connect between them, and therefore all these protocols which are all fragmented stuff would really not be a proper solution. So, I am just trying to put you on path to look at 1-M technical specifications that have been defined, how 1-M can be used to interwork with several of these existing technologies already, IoTVT or AllJoyn and so on. So, there are a lot of interworking proxies and all of that, and essentially if you get this platform 1-M based IoT protocol integration, if you understand it well and you install this platform, then whatever we are discussing really will be a reality to this complete system. I have some open thoughts on this first responder networks. Also, from what I have been seeing and feeling a little depressed in the current days all over the country, we see some issues, and I am sure you will be able to connect to what I am saying, and several of you may even have unknowingly got into this problem. Think about, you are going on in a busy road, either on a two wheeler or in your car or your private transport or public transport. You suddenly see that a person X or Y has met with an accident and he or she is bleeding. Okay. And what do you do if you are a human, which we all are, and humane, and we have concern for our community and all that. First thing we do is we get off, take that person, find an immediate closest hospital and take that person and admit that person to the hospital, right. This is what we should be doing, and this is what was happening for several years, and there are so many good Samaritans out there who actually even today do this. But equally disturbing are also several pictures that we have seen on different social media and all that, where people take out their phones and start shooting that incident, right. Whatever is happening live, instead of going and rescuing the person, they are taking their camera and then shooting through their mobile phone. They are actually shooting that incident. Now let us not go into what is ethical, unethical, non-ethical and all that, because that is a controversy which I do not want to rake up at this stage. But I want to bring in technology here. Just think about a situation that irrespective of who is shooting, if this video is available to first responders server, because when you shoot you have your video and you have your geolocation which is available, exact location, because you are standing right then and there, and all the background that you can see that if it is a flyover, you know it is a flyover and all that. With all that, the network of first responders, if it connects to 101 services, or it connects to ambulances, it connects to hospitals, it connects to all the nearby systems, then you will have everything in place. Maybe if you are not able to do, the people who are supposed to rescue should at least come to that spot in a quick time, right, at least that can happen. And since it is this video is now getting streamed to the nearest hospital or hospitals in a, let us say, a boundary of in a diameter of about 1 kilometer, hospitals there can be ready to, because they see the pictures, they can be ready to provide the first aid, and depending on the kind of injury that the person is involved in. The roads can be freed, the signals can be given green, the ambulances can come, the police can come, and whoever are there can come and actually rescue this system. But if you want to do all of this, it is nice, right, it is great. Why would a picture taken from my phone actually be believed by the first responder, right? That is where the problem is. So many times you may have a technology which is ready, but many times you cannot use the technology because the supporting infrastructure, the support security requirements and support infrastructure is not ready, mature enough for the such systems to get enabled. Therefore, if our phones have to transmit data, video data of a scene, there is no reason why the first responder should believe that it is coming from an authentic source. Why should, I mean, it is like the usual phone calls that are made to say that such an object is placed here, an object is placed there which can kill people and all that. So lot of these things we hear, and they are all hoaxes, right. So why should this not be a hoax video? Why cannot it be a hoax video? Most often 99% it is not a hoax video, but it is those 1% people who can create more confusion and furor among all the community, that really we have to weed out, and all these mechanisms are for those 1% set of hoax videos that are not even 1%, perhaps it is even fraction of 1%, which essentially we will have to take care. Therefore, you need a framework, security framework for providing all this support, and this M2M one M2M based IoT protocol integration will perhaps provide some kind of support in trying to provide you that framework under which your own mobile device could be trusted well. So I would not like to deviate the topic, so let us go back and look at what actually happened. So if you look at quickly to say that the one M2M protocol standard talks about AEs, which are application entities, and CSCs, common service entities, and that framework is something quite mature. I mean it is coming up, and therefore the SDP part will actually fit in into this framework as well. So it is not, without deviating too much, let us look at some pictures and how actually things have happened. Look at this picture, okay. Here is a picture of a iPad augmented reality scene of a smart building. Here I will read out this, it is very useful, it is nice to see how it works. A first responder with an iPad which has a preloaded authorized network access certificate, has cellular access to a 4G LTE Verizon mobile network. The responder with his iPad approaches the building. When it comes within proximity, the building's secure SDP network senses its presence, checks its credentials, authorizes it and grants the iPad access to the building's private SDP network. Once on the building network, M2M machines within the building present themselves to the iPad via via iPad user via icons overlaid on the live iPad camera view of the building, creating an augmented reality scene for the user. What a fantastic way that a first responder is getting access to a lot of information inside the building, which is his primary purpose being to rescue people inside them. So that demo is available, and he gets into it and then he has a look at it, right. Pre-recorded 360-degree video walkthroughs of the interior of the building is also made available to him, and he can also have a look at those pictures. Live video feeds of the building surveillance cameras can feed information to him or her, and so that the rescue operations become extremely smooth. Safe operating procedures for buildings, live status of which SOP steps have already been executed is also shown, so that some of the inmates who are there in the building trapped there have actually executed those SOPs. How much of them have been met is prior information to first responders to assist help in rescuing inmates inside. So there is also possibility that of just by not a single iPad connectivity, but basic multi-user collaboration is also another thing that can be demonstrated. A single authorized responder with his iPad has previously entered the building and accessed the SDP network over a building Wi-Fi hotspot. Now you can do it with 2 users that can collaborate on a floor plan drawing provided by one of the building's M2M machines loaded on a shared whiteboard. So essentially you are looking at, both the users are looking at that whiteboard. Each user interactively draws on the floor map to suggest a potential ingress route, and also utilizes local text messaging facilities to communicate with each other. So that is another thing that you can do. Another thing that you can do is, so these are what is happening between first responders. You can use text messages to tell the responder outside to access his live iPad camera feed from inside the building, which he does. The responder inside the building via text message also tells the responder outside to access his live iPad camera feed and to see what is actually happening. So you could share information of this nature. So all of this essentially means that technology could be used in extremely effective manner to and first responder networks essentially is a platform to try out several of these M2M technologies in a very secure manner such that you meet your objectives. There are always problems of privacy, and that is also discussed in this issue. I mentioned to you also about the problem of live videos that we upload, and those issues will have to be there. Sometimes the person who is fallen there may not want to be videographed for some reason, right. So without asking someone's permission we are also doing it. So there may be some privacy concerns. Fight, for instance, forget about bleeding and blood loss and all that, there may be some issues of people do not want to be videographed for some reason, and that is right to their privacy. So access to this kind of video data is not is an incorrect way of doing it. So a lot of privacy concerns are there. We have to bear everything in mind before we provide good solutions. This is one part of what first responders and SDP and one M2M protocol framework and all that is all about. But another exciting thing that is happening to all of us, if you look around, are new rules are coming up on use of flying machines for rescue, search and rescue operations, right. Drones have invaded our lives, and drones perhaps are the way by which several services will be made available to us. Amazon recently said that they will deliver several items using the drone technology, right. Pizzas, for instance, can be delivered from a pizza outlet to one's home, and then you could essentially pick it up in quick time. All of this means it's just not about pizzas, it could also be about medicines, In the first responder framework, it could be medicines, it could be drugs which have to be brought in, it could be blood samples that have to be taken to hospitals from a disaster site. Supposing you want to prepare the hospitals on the planning of blood requirements and all that, you may want to mark, take off the samples, put it on a quick slide and then put it inside a storage device and send it via the drone back to these hospitals, which essentially means you will need accurate landing of these drones and accurate landing on either side. And in between are these problems of drones not being able to having limited life for a flight time. For typically 20 minutes to half an hour is what on full charge of a battery a drone can actually fly, and payload is an issue. Different sizes of drones are available to take care of the payloads, but it is also useful to know what kind of technologies will be required if you want to support accurate landing of these drones. Okay. So again it comes in the purview of first responders because it depends on how you look at it, right. Why do you want a drone to land accurately? It could be for delivery of pizza, it could also be delivery of medicines, it could be to take items from that disaster site. So this pizza delivery is a peculiar thing, right. If your localization algorithm is not so accurate, or it ends up with lot of false very grossly it falls away from where it should be landing, then your pizza could actually get delivered to your neighbor, right. So that is something that might happen. So it has to do lot of things. So accurate landing is a very important requirement. Also, as I said, this charging of drones is an issue, and you need to ensure that these are charged quickly before they can move on and provide service to all these first responder applications. Let us look at one video which essentially will drive you to understand what exactly is being done as part of this drone landing system. I will play this video and I will cut off the audio. You can see now that there is a drone which has taken off, and my student Jishnu has he goes hands off. So he has left it, now the drone is on its own, it has to land accurately somewhere. So it moves, and then now it is time for the drone to land, either to drop something or to get charged by itself. So it keeps looking for a location where there is a charging pad or a landing pad. So you see that is the landing pad, it slowly descends down the landing pad. Please note that I am not landing on floor, I am actually landing on a platform. So that is a lot more harder. So it comes down, it identifies, it looks for some marker, it identifies some markers, slowly it comes down, and then it realizes, comes to some depth, comes to some height, and then looks at those markers and then lands there. There you can see it has landed now, and then my student has built this application for charging the drone in a wireless manner. So there is this Kai standard charger. So he is at the moment using mechanical systems to dock the drone, which can easily be automated, and then you can see that the charging coils are mounted below, will now come up, and there will be a wireless charging system between the transmitter coils and the receiver coils, essentially providing you support power for charging the drone. And after that, after charging, or in this case it is charging, it could be also delivery of items, picking up items from the system, it takes those items and then goes off, flies off, okay. And then there is a person there, my student at the moment has not perfected the art of ensuring that it takes off all by itself. The takeoff itself is done manually by that remote unit with using a telemetry link, but then that can also be done very quickly, and then you can see that it can take off by itself. In this demo that we have shown you, that this is a nice application which can allow you to use it in several scenarios including first responders, right. So let us see this once again. You see that there is a marker platform, there is a circle there, there is a plus mark, and essentially you will have to use some sort of neural net application to do this object real time object detection, and then use this object detection algorithm to actually accurately land the drone, right. Now what exactly goes behind this technology is interesting, because it is indeed not easy at all to do that, that activity. You may argue that why do you want to do wireless charging, can it not be dock based wired charging, you can have contact pins and then you can charge. Well, that is another way of charging. We will not go into the detail, but what is important is it lands on a platform and it can do several things on that platform. To give you an understanding of what the complexity of this of that system is, will be an important thing.